So as you can see behind me, I've got the engine in. I did make a choice. I think I will put it in. In fact, I know I'll put it in. I've got my shop set up a little bit better now. I've got my table there to put all my bits in. The elephant hoists there. Where else have we got here? Oh, we've got Land Rover. We've got a bit of space to work in, but not much. But what I have to do first of all, I'm going to lift up the bonnet and disconnect the battery. Now I've only just put new oil in here. That's not a really big problem because I'll drain it into a really nice clean container, run it through the centrifuge and then bang it in the old Isuzu because that's starting to drink a bit of oil, so it won't go to waste. And then we'll take off the front and get the radiator out the way, the radiator and what have you, but we'll put the car on the lift so we've got plenty of height to work with, if you see what I mean. You'll see what I'm talking about. But it's not too bad a job to do. Well, it's kind of easy really. And I'll show you some sockets I found the other day. I went to Canadian Tire just to have a look at, you know, get some bits and pieces, you know, tape and glue and shit. Oops. Anyway, I spied some sockets on special, and I like Canadian Tire stuff because it's really good. And these are 3/8 drive, 12 piece, start at, what's that, 6mm, all the way up to 19. Not only stubby ones, but long sockets like this too. How much? $17 a set. Why do I like them? They're guaranteed for life, because they are the extreme ones. But it doesn't really matter with Canadian Tire stuff. If you break it, take it back, and they'll give you money back or give you another tool. And they're already on a nice thing for fastening down, but they're ideal for using on this little gun here, because this isn't like super powerful like a Milwaukee, but sometimes you don't need a super powerful gun for taking bolts on and off, if you see what I mean. And it's many thanks again, I have to say it because I don't think they responded to my letter, that they won't actually. I had a problem with this gun and I thought it was the batteries that were defective, and I checked out the charger and the charger wasn't putting out much juice, so they sent me another charger free of charge, if you see what I mean. So that was nice. So now we've got plenty of power, and these batteries, when they are charged up, they last for weeks and weeks and weeks. So I was really pleased with that. So that's going to get some stick when we do this engine. But I don't know what we're going to find, but at least all the ancillaries we can swap over. So one of the first things I'm going to do, I'm looking down there at my oil drain bucket. I'm going to wash out in the parts washer, which probably means going downtown to get some new petrol and diesel, so I can wash all those things out, because no doubt there'll be things on here that's a bit grubby that want to clean before we put them on that nice shiny engine. Talking of which, let's go and have a look around it in case you didn't see it when we were building it. So there you go, bog standard 300 TDI, brand new head, all taped off. We had it all pressure tested, everything was good. New core plugs, new frost plugs, it's all been bunged up, it's all been crown rust proofed out in the shed. I have no problems with that. Now I've decided now to paint the rocker boxes black on rebuilt engines so I can spot them. I know it sounds stupid, but I've done so many engines. And again, some people said, well, why did you put the air cleaner bracket on the engine now? Because this might go into a disco. Well, we never see discos here, so that was a good call, so we can torque all the bolts down at the same time. And you can see the bits, they're all taped over, so there's no dirt and dust in those. We've got to swap everything over, like the engine mounts and things. Put the timing chain on, timing cover on. But what we're going to do first of all, just to make life a bit interesting, is we're going to put all the bits down on the padded bench there. So we've got everything, and then I might just put that engine, the other engine, on that stand. I don't like that stand, but I like this one better. Wait a minute, go around this side. You can probably see on there, I've got the centre just under that core plug there, like, you know, it's a little bit under. Whereas this one, it was up here. It was way up here, way too high. So I'm going to copy that one. I made that one, I must have made that 20 years ago. But I'm going to copy that one, because that's a nice size, and it does all sorts of Land Rover engines, and you know, at my time of life, I think that's all I'll ever be doing is Land Rover engines. I won't be doing any Ferraris or anything like that. But it's already got the crank seal on, everything's good to go. I just don't have the back housing, which will take off this car here. So less of this rambling, let's get on. So I got started. After 15 minutes, is there any top tips I can tell you about taking an engine out? Well, yeah, there is a few. The TDI had a bad problem of not having a drain at the bottom of the radiator. That usually means you have coolant everywhere. So here's a top tip. Take the bung out of here and use a siphon to pull out the coolant, because it's not getting any cheaper, and put it into your bucket. Now you can reduce the level of the radiator by half, but not only that, the next thing we're going to do, where are we now? Here. You can see what it's done. It's already dropped the level of the coolant bottle. Well, that's handy, because what I do next is I take the top hose off, I take the cowling off, that's already loose, but you've got to take the top hose off. That's why I drop the level of the fluid, because I don't want to get coolant everywhere and I want to use it again. I take that out, take this out, and then the hose that goes to the coolant bottle here, we can take it out, put a bung in it, feed it right down to the bottom into the drain that's going to be under here, and we won't lose any coolant. Good, eh? Now another top tip, if you're ever watching, I replaced this bonnet cable with a really long one off a North American spec. Brilliant, because you can move it out the way, you don't have to disconnect it. God, it just gets better, doesn't it? So the next thing, once we've got the radiator out the road, we can really steam on and get onto this. Now you'll see there's a reason why I take the radiator down. A lot of people struggle on and mess about. There's no point struggling, because you see you can do several things at the same time. So as you can see now, I've managed to get the hose from the expansion tank. I've got a bung in it. I'm now going to take the bung out. And we don't get any coolant on the floor. Isn't that good? You like that? We're just going to leave that to drain. The next thing, we can take all the hoses off and get this radiator out. Radiator's in really lovely condition. Push that underneath. Make sure if you do this outside, cats and dogs don't get into this, because they love antifreeze, just like me. So that's it, hoses. Now this is where it gets a bit messy for the it gets a bit messy taking the oil cooler pipes off. There's not much you can do about it really, because it's going to leak oil. So what we do is we get the coolant out first, and then using one of these washing machine catcher things, we're going to stick that under there and catch all the drips of oil when it comes out, and we'll let it drip whilst we undo hoses. We always try to do 2 or 3 things at different times, if you see what I mean. So let's get on with that. Once the radiator's off, it gives us good access to have a look at an awful lot of stuff, and especially to get the crank nut off. Here. Yeah, there's a bit of washing to do. There's a bit of dirt down here which I'm not really happy with, but I can always push the car back to get it washed off, or I'll leave and wash it off where it is. You probably noticed here I took the washer bottle off, because when we take the engine in and out, the injector pump invariably hits the washer bottle, get tied up with it, so the more out of the way the better. Next thing I'm going to take off is I've got all the hoses off. Take off the rear hoses, air cleaner, starter wires, bits and bobs. There is a bit of oil in this air intake, so I'm not sure. I said there was a plate between that exhaust gas recirculation thing. Maybe there wasn't, but let's have a look at it. But it wasn't oil out of the breather, so that's a good thing. Yeah, so let's continue. Well, first of all, we'll get the nut off while the car's in. We can put it in gear and if we need be, we can turn it over on the crank and get the nut off, but I'll try my big gun first. Right, we're about an hour into this job now. As you can see here, I've taken the power steering pump off, but not disconnected the hoses. That means we don't have to drain any fluid out. Good. And the other reason is, once you take out the power steering pump, you can put your hand down here through this little handy hole here and take out the bung for the coolant what's remaining in the block, which we will do in a minute. But first of all, let me tell you, I've taken off the pulleys off the water pump, off the fan. That's lovely, is that? Nothing wrong with that. Tensioners off. So now I'm going to see if I can prise off the fan. See if I can prise off the pulley. Oh, come to daddy. Look at that. That's lovely. So, I bet you're all wanting to see if it's had a timing belt on. Let's have a look. They've been tight, these bolts. It doesn't look like they've been now. And they might be. I don't know. Sorry my back's here, but just tighten them up tight. Don't want them to come out. Oh, isn't it exciting? Don't know what you're going to find here. Oh, I want to hang on to those clips because they are so expensive. Unbelievably expensive. Available in the shops. In my shop. I tried to keep all the bolts in place. Now, if somebody's been in this and it wasn't me, I can tell you that straight away. I thought it was blue Hylamar. It's blue silicone. I never use it. Eat your heart out. It's a beauty. I honestly think somebody's been in it before. There's not a bit of dust on it. However, isn't it? You know, these are the things. This is why I wanted to change it. Can you see what I can see? Eh? This is the old type of pulley. There's no guides at the bottom, but the guides are on here. Now I think this belt isn't very old, and somebody who's taken it out doesn't really, well, sort of know, and I think that might be why it was a bit tappety, because they've put white paint on the pulleys here, here and here and here, a little bit up there to mark them up. And it looks like the sump's been off at some time. So somebody's been into this. But we're going to make it better. Yeah, I'm pleased about that. I am pleased about that. So I'll tell you what we'll do next. We'll drain off the coolant, and then we'll take this assembly. I'm going to just take some assemblies off. Just to make life a little bit easier, but I have noticed in quite a few places there's corrosion on the pipes, which is a bit of a shame, but not the end of the world, if you see what I mean. Oh, maybe you couldn't see what I was talking about. Well, let's go through that again. White paint on here, 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 here. So they didn't know where to put the markings. So they didn't know anything by the book, but this is the old style. This is the original style, so it hasn't shredded the belt yet, so it might have been done recently. I can't see the back of the belt to see if there's any markings on it, but looking at it, it's been running pretty much true. So true, funny how it is. Let me get the coolant off, and then we can. I'm going to just sort of strip some ancillaries down off this to make this block as light as possible, then get them on the table to see if we're cleaning up. It's now 10 to 4. It's not too bad. An hour and a bit. Going all right, isn't it? Right. Now you see when the power steering pump is off, you can sort of tuck that underneath. That'll go underneath here. Look. Well out of the way. Then you don't have to have power steering fluid everywhere. So let me get to that block drain. While it's draining off, I'll start to pull a lot of bits and pieces off, and yeah, pretty good. So just back again. Here's another bit we're going to take off this housing here, and we're going to find out, did it have a P gasket on it? No. Oh, I'm telling a lie, it has. It's got a P gasket on it. That's excellent. Oh, well, that's good news. I thought it didn't have one. Ah, well, there's a lot of silicone on there. And it looks like there's some animals been at this, trying to drill out bolts. What was that? Oh, that was the housing falling off. So that's good. We don't have to worry about that too much. I'll take the thermostat housing off, that will be easy to get off now. And then pipes and wires. Well, there you go, 10 past 4. Time to lift it up, get the bell housing bolts off from underneath. As many bolts as we can, get the exhaust pipe off. And then we can lift this bad boy out. Hasn't taken very long, has it? There's been, oops, sorry, did I hit your leg? There's been nothing to really report. There's going to be a few parts I'm going to have to buy. Steelwork pipes. Again, this car hasn't had any antifreeze in it. I'll show you these when we take them off. They're not good. But these pipes are only cheap, they're only a couple of quid. Also, I was just thinking while the motor's out, it gives me a chance just to get a little touch-up gun and paint the bulkhead at the back and tidy it up a bit. That would look nice, wouldn't it? Well, might as well do. Yeah, I'm going to put my wing protectors on the sides, we'll go find them, and we'll get that done. So let me get this on the lift. Maybe, do you know, we didn't have that many tools. Look at them. I didn't even bother put my wing top protectors on. Mind you, I got the table behind me. Well, it wasn't too bad. And that's why I always wear my shop coats like this, because they've got no studs on them, so when we're leaning over it's not too bad. If it was a customer's car, it'd be a different thing. Let's get it up in the air. So it's 4:45. I've just about to get this engine out, but I had a bit of a struggle, because my favourite universal joint, the bloody pin flew out, and I don't know where it went. I'll have to take it back and get another one. But I use these big long bars to go up near the transmission to get the bolts out, the transmission at the top. So I'm just about to get it out, and the engine, and we'll see what happens. I've got all the bolts now. I'm just going to pull it out, I'm not going to do anything fancy. Because I think some of the washers are good. Yeah. There you go. Now my biggest problem is getting this lift over this front cross member. That's why I had to shorten my chain a little bit. It's a bit rough. You have to move a few bits and pieces out of the way and make sure all the pipes, hoses and etc are off. That's off. Yeah, that's all good to go. Oh, so be knocking off, and the hooter will be going in a minute. is why you need two people to pull these bloody things out. What's that catching there? Oh, forgot to take the vacuum pump off. What a fool. Oh, we'll soon get it off now. At least we can get to the clip. There we go. Born free. Tell you something. I'm going to take them oil cooler pipes off because they're sort of getting in the way. Yeah. Somebody's replaced these hoses with hydraulic hose off a JCB or something like that. Made a nice job of them, but by gum they're heavy. There's like not heavy weight, but heavy duty. So let's see if we can pull this out. We've got oil now on the floor, which I didn't want. Oh, I forgot to put my wing protectors on. It doesn't really matter because we're pulling it out and putting it in. There we go. Really no space. There. Who's your daddy? Hello. The clutch is nice. Looks good. That'll live again. Yeah, so that's the engine out. All I've got to do now is tonight I'll drain the oil off it and then just start swapping the bits over. I might have to move things around a little bit just to get in, but you can see if I leave it on that lift overnight like that, it's going to be really easy to get access. And then once that's, before we put it in, we can get the power wash and power wash all this lot out. Make a nice clean job of it. Yeah, I think we'll do that. I really do think we'll do that. I think it's going to make a nice job. So that's it. 5:05. Engine's out. A couple of hours. I said 10 minutes, but I exaggerate a little bit. Yeah, so let me drain the oil out. I've got a clean container waiting. And like I said, then it's a matter of just pulling the bits off. That's going to be boring, but we might just do some highlights tomorrow.